The Livewire S2 Mulholland and the Livewire S2 Alpinista have been available in the Netherlands since the beginning of 2025. I took advantage of the first nice day of the year to test drive both bikes. The Mulholland and the Alpinista are both electric motorcycles on the Livewire S2 platform. In the Netherlands there are 3 Harley-Davidson locations where the Livewire is for sale. The location in Den Bosch is the closest to me, so I planned my test drive there, at Central Harley-Davidson. There I first received a brief explanation about the operation of the Livewire, and then I was allowed to hit the road. They gave me a full battery and plenty of time to test the motorbikes. They gave me the Mulholland first, and I was the first person to test drive it. This was also the case for the Alpinista, so both were brand new and the tires were also brand new. So I had to drive a bit calm in the beginning, especially in combination with the still damp road. The Livewire bikes have different modes, so I started in rain mode. In this mode the engine responds less abruptly to the throttle lever. Also, regenerative braking is switched off in this mode. By the way, the engine is not slow at all in this mode, you can still accelerate quite quickly. The Livewire S2 Mulholland is also the first electric motorcycle I ever rode. Previously I rode a Suzuki Intruder 1400 myself. It's a completely different bike with a rather prominent engine sound. That was certainly the first thing I had to get used to. Only the hum of the electric motor and the sound of the wind. I drove around on the Mulholland for over an hour, so I could get a good impression. Then it was time for the latest model from Livewire, the S2 Alpinista. Fortunately, by now the road started to get dry. So although the tires on this bike were also brand new, I was immediately able to drive the Alpinista in a bit more sporty manner. The sitting position of the Alpinista also invites you to do this. And speaking of the seating position, this is also one of the bigger differences between the two motorcycles. With the Mulholland you sit more upright and the saddle gives you some room to slide forwards and backwards. With the Alpinista you lean a little bit more forward and the seating space at the back is limited by the shape of the saddle. Personally, I find the Alpinista more comfortable. While I expected in advance that I would like the Mulholland more. That little support in your back is very pleasant, especially when you are pulling up smoothly. There's another important difference between the two bikes, the front tire. The Mulholland has a 19-inch tire and the Alpinista has a 17-inch tire. The difference is clearly noticeable when you look at the driving behavior of both bikes. The Alpinista is much more agile and therefore, in my opinion, much more pleasant to drive. If you are considering purchasing a Livewire yourself, I would definitely recommend trying both bikes. It really makes a world of difference. Beforehand, my preference was mainly for the Mulholland, but after the test drive I completely switched to the Alpinista. I mainly rode the Alpinista in road mode. I think it's a nice mode where you can accelerate smoothly, but also have regenerative braking. I already drive an electric car myself, so I'm quite used to having the regenerative braking. I also enjoy this regenerative braking on the motorcycle. It simply means you don't have to use the brakes as often. What I haven't talked about yet is what the biggest disadvantage of electric motorcycling is, the range. Both bikes have a range of 194 kilometers, according to Livewire. However, this is only when you're driving specifically in the city, so at low speeds and a lot of stopping and accelerating. According to the specification, you should reach 115 kilometers on the highway, but I have my doubts about that. So if you keep your speed in check on the highway, you can probably last about an hour. That's not much driving when you are on a weekend road trip. So this bike is clearly not suitable for those types of trips. Many of my own daily trips are mainly to my work or to appointments that are nearby. Then of course such a motorbike could work perfectly. During my test drive I noticed how quickly the battery drains. I rode about 50 kilometers on both motorcycles, but that cost over more than half of the battery. I didn't even go on the highway. Since I was doing a test drive, I of course drove quite smoothly, and that requires a bit of extra power. Also, the acceleration is one of the nice things about having an electric motor. The Mulholland can reach 100 km per hour in 3.3 seconds, and the Alpinista is even a bit faster with 3 seconds. That's really fast, and of course that's a lot of fun. Both bikes are approximately the same price in the Netherlands. The Mulholland is about €19,750, and for the Alpinista you pay €19,150. So it's about €600 cheaper. So these bikes aren't cheap, but when you get a quality bike on fossil fuel, it's also not that cheap. I'm seriously considering purchasing the Livewire S2 Alpinista. Or what am I saying, I actually already bought it. What do you think of Livewire's bikes? Would you consider one yourself? Let me know in the comments below this video.